about y'all, but if I ever get to the point where I'm screaming at an elementary school award ceremony, please send help. Because I have clearly lost every ounce of my mind.
Welcome to my channel, Outspoken Samantha. If you are new here, welcome. I appreciate you clicking on the video to watch it, and since you're here, I would love it if you would help me to grow this channel and hit that subscribe button. To those of you who are returning, I appreciate you coming back and engaging in my videos and continuing to support my channel, and I would love it if you would make sure that you are subscribed as well. So as we're all winding the school year down, I have talked a lot about commencement speeches that have been happening at college graduations. I talked about the one that Jerry Seinfeld gave. I talked a lot about the one that Harrison Butker gave, which was, of course, an amazing speech. But I think most of us can relate to all of these end-of-year ceremonies that our younger kids have. I have a daughter that's going from 2nd to 3rd grade, a son that's going from 5th to 6th grade, which also means elementary school to middle school, which is so hard to believe. And then I have one that's going from 7th to 8th grade. So these, of course, are not giant ceremonies. They're not really anything super spectacular, but just kind of a way to come together. Here's some final closing words from their teachers and from the principal, get some certificates, and just kind of end the year on a fun and light, uplifting note. And in these ceremonies, there are always kids that receive certificates or special recognition of some kind, and all of us are always hopeful that our kid will be one of those people that gets a certificate. But as is, as we live in the real world and we understand how things work, not everybody can get a certificate, not everybody can get an award, not everybody can be recognized in some kind of special way. And if everybody was, then it would take the significance and the importance away from those awards and what it means to achieve them. The participation trophy mentality is just not serving anybody. So we want to make sure that they have things to strive for and to work toward, but also understand that there is just a limited number of certificates and trophies that can be handed out, and that, even if they don't win one of these specific things, that they still learn a lot from working hard, from progressing, and from challenging themselves. But clearly not all parents have gotten that memo, and this video has been going around on social media of this mom who decided to flip out. I believe this is at her 1st grader's end of year ceremony. In this article talking about this particular incident, it says an Atlanta helicopter mom erupted in expletives at an elementary school awards ceremony after her son was snubbed in spite of his scholastic achievements. His report card says different, spat the outraged mama bear as the school principal attempted to tame her outburst. Footage of the eye-popping exploit caught viral wildfire, gathering over 6 million TikTok views. "You're gonna single these mother effing kids out," barked the unnamed woman whose son is said to be in 1st grade. Stunned parents and children were seen sitting silently in the auditorium, watching on in horror. "Let's go," the mom yelled to her little one as they stormed out of the ceremony. Shocking social media spectators sympathized with the woman's son, leaving comments such as, "I can't imagine how humiliating that must have been for that child, and he probably felt embarrassed." And unfortunately, moms and dads who parent with extreme intensity, strict rules, and short fuses tend to impose a great deal of psychological damage onto their tots. And of course, I have the video for your viewing pleasure, so let's see what this tantrum looked like.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for what we're seeing right now. But Mama, I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you. Mama. We can look at it in a minute. You can't. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize. Boys and girls.
So clearly this is not okay, and also it's not normal, because most of the parents in that room, their children did not get awards either, yet they are able to handle it like mature adults. And I understand to an extent the feeling of, yes, my child probably qualified for one of these awards, or you hear the name of what the certificate is that they are handing out and you're like, my kid's totally gonna get that, and then they don't. Last night we were at an award ceremony for my 5th grader, and they would say things like, we have this particular certificate for someone who demonstrated outstanding leadership, and other ones that said we're handing this one out for someone who demonstrated a growth in character or progress of some kind. And it's so funny because you hear all of these things and you're like, oh, that my child's totally got that one in the bag. Like, they're such a great leader. They're such a compassionate person. You know, they're so productive and all of these things, you know, and all of us, I think, probably imagine that our kid is going to get something, particularly with how easy it might seem to qualify for these particular awards. But at the end of the day, we understand again that not everybody is going to get one, and that whatever standards these teachers apply to whoever they pick for these certificates and awards, you know, I trust that they're doing the best that they can. And again, even if your kid doesn't get one, there is an important and valuable life lesson to learn, that you need to be able to handle it like a good sport, and you need to be happy for the people that do accomplish these things. As we were sitting in these awards ceremonies again for 2 of my kids yesterday, what struck me the most was not the kids that got their certificate, but the fact that every single time a name was called, the people that cheered the loudest for these kids were their peers. They were so excited for each other. They cheered each other on. They were excited for their achievements and accomplishment, and they were working themselves to lift each other up. And they showed far more maturity in their young bodies and in their young minds than this woman has probably ever had in her entire life. And as some of the commenters said, I'm sure her young 7-year-old child, 6 or 7-year-old child, felt embarrassed that his mother was acting like this. I mean, you can kind of expect this from a small child at times, these temper tantrums about not getting the thing that you want. But even children know that seeing this from an adult is unnatural, and there is something very wrong with it. And behaving like this does not come without consequences. Continued in this article, it says research from Ohio State University published earlier this month found that harsh parenting practices lead to a higher risk of mental behaviors and emotional health issues in children. We have high expectations for ourselves as parents. We have high expectations for what our kids should be doing, said lead study author Kate Golick. Then on the flip side, you're comparing yourself to other people, other families, and there's a lot of judgment that goes on. And whether it's intended or not, she added, it's still there. Amy Chua, a self-crowned tiger mom who demanded perfection from her daughters as kids, shared those sentiments. The author recently revealed her remorse for openly losing her cool when the girls, now both young adults, fell short of her incredibly high standards. And I think the most important thing is understanding that there is a balance there. Yes, expecting your kids to get their homework done. Yes, expecting them to behave themselves in school and to fulfill the expectations that are of them while they are in their learning environment, listening to their teachers, showing respect, and all of these things, and doing the things that they are asked to do. But at the same time, alleviating that stress and those expectations on them and being like, it is okay if you are not the best of the best at everything. It is okay if you don't win an award every year, or that you aren't publicly recognized every time you accomplish something. There's still a lot to be learned, again, for being productive and working hard and challenging yourself. And those are the most important lessons to carry with you. But what this mom is demonstrating for her child, which is what we see far too much in society now, is that it's okay to lose your cool when you don't get what you want. That it's okay to yell and scream and throw a tantrum if you don't get that award, if you don't get the thing that you believe that you are entitled to. And also that you are a victim if you don't get it. I just want to get to a couple of the reactions to this video as well. This woman, I believe, may have either responded to the video or taken the video herself, but this is what she had to say just in response to some of the comments on it.
My point still stands. She should have spoken to the principal after the ceremony. She was screaming in the middle of the ceremony. If this was the case, that's all she needed to do. That's what I'm talking about. After the ceremony would have been more appropriate.
And I completely agree with that. You know, if something happens that you don't feel is just, or that you don't feel is right, it is perfectly fine to advocate yourself. You don't want to be a bully about it. You don't want to be a jerk and make other people's lives miserable. But if she does feel like there was some kind of injustice happening here, go to the people that can actually resolve it with you and have that conversation and actually demonstrate to your child what it looks like to resolve conflict in a mature way. One of the comments on the side of this video says this: I had my daughter not get an award for A honor when she brought all A's. I waited till the end to speak to the office, and sure enough, they checked and apologized and gave her the award. Another one said, yes, I remember one year my youngest wasn't recognized for honor roll. I sat quietly, then he and I went up to the admin after. They apologized to him and recognized him over the intercom the next day. So there's no reason to make a big fuss like this. In fact, you're doing far more harm than good, and you are not not advocating for your child, you're making their life worse, and you're not teaching them anything valuable. Go in, stand up for yourself, have a conversation, and again, demonstrate to them that this is how we handle things in a mature and grown-up way. And this was the lady from the beginning, so we're going to listen to a little bit more of what she had to say.
If you haven't seen the video, go back and watch it. But this is the result of us creating a society where everyone's just focused on themselves and what they're getting out of it, and where we can't celebrate other people. We can't celebrate other people's kids. We can't come together to support the school, the community, anything. It's just, look, if my kid isn't getting an award, I'm going to tear this whole place up. This is also why we got to put more effort and emphasis on these kids, because a lot of these kids are being raised by immature, inconsiderate, narcissistic, insecure adults. And when we see them acting up, they're not even acting up. They're only showing us like a fifth of what it is that they see at home.
I mean, amen. Like, what else is there to say? Because in her tantrum, she's in a room full of kids and families where she's yelling expletives and she is screaming and she is ruining the entire ceremony for everybody else. There are other kids that are trying to celebrate their accomplishments and trying to celebrate their peers and actually just have a positive, uplifting end to the year and celebrate even families and parents for getting through it and surviving the entire school year. But it makes it all about you when you feel like you have the right to get up and scream and yell and ruin the whole thing and make it all about you and take that spotlight off of the people who are there that deserve it, off of the people who have earned it. And a couple comments on the side of this video. One says, sis could have sent an email if she felt he was left off the honor roll. My son was left off and I politely sent an email and it was corrected the same day. And this one comment caught my attention. This lady says, I taught for 17 years. Award day was so stressful. Then the principal would encourage bending over for angry yelling parents. At the end of the year, who has the energy to be yelled at? Well, your principal was wrong. But obviously there are a lot of people that have dealt with this issue as well, and they know how to be adults about it. But again, I think this is just one more demonstration and proof of why we have so many young adults in this upcoming generation who are so unable to cope with rejection and so unable to cope with negativity and who feel so entitled to pretty much whatever it is that they want. It starts in the home, guys. It starts in the home. I know for me personally, awards ceremonies were always, I think they started out being challenging and then I just kind of got used to them. I really struggled with academics. I was never somebody that could focus for very long or had a lot of motivation to do really well. I realized later in life when I did take a few college courses that I could actually do well if I applied myself. It was just something that it wasn't a skill that I had when I was younger. But I remember going to these award ceremonies and seeing so many of my friends get these certificates and awards, and I just never let it bother me. It is what it is. And something that I talk to my kids about all the time is, yes, I want them to do their homework. I want them to be productive. I want them to learn. I want them to do well. But I care so much more about the kind of people that they are. Are they respectful? Are they kind? Are they compassionate? Can they cheer for their peers? Can they be a good sport about things? And my kids have never really piled up the awards, but something that I do hear from their teachers constantly is that they are good people, that they are compassionate, that they are so kind and so respectful. And for me, that is the greatest thing that I could hear about my kids of any other accomplishment that they could have. But I would love to hear your thoughts on this in the comments below. Please like this video. It really does help me in the algorithm. I know that it doesn't seem like something that would be such a big deal, but it is really helpful. Please make sure that you are subscribed. I am trying to grow this channel. Keep it real, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.